Hey folks, Don here from UploadVR, and welcome back to another VR Sideload, where we talk about how people are spending their time in VR headsets. Now, before we dive in, I want to take a moment to give a huge thank you to the amazing folks who help us make this coverage possible. Our UploadVR patrons play a direct role in expanding what we're able to do here on the site, and we truly couldn't do it without their support. So from all of us here at UploadVR, a huge thank you going out today to XR Developer News, Podum from Smash Drums, HoloNet, Justin Corcoran from Phosphor Studios, Richard Meller, Parmesan, Qubits, Steve Lucas, David Wyatt, DePanch, and Soul Presence. Seriously, your support helps keep us going. Now, in case this is your first time checking out one of our live shows here on YouTube, well, you can also tune into VR Download on Thursdays with David Heaney and Ian Hamilton as they discuss the latest tech news and trends. And then I'll be back each Friday now with a new VR Sideload where we'll recap the top stories from across the week on UploadVR.com. And sometimes I'll also be joined by various guests as we explore virtual reality together and with all of you out there watching. Now, today we're going to kick things off by looking at two new ways that you can visit a galaxy far, far away through the latest Star Wars game in the franchise, being Beyond Victory. That just came out last week for Quest 3 and 3S. And then we're going to travel back in time 26 years through a mod to one of Star Wars' older games, which is X-Wing Alliance. Now, we're pretty much going to be having a big Star Wars discussion in the first half of the show here. So, let me know down in the comments what your favorite moments from the Star Wars saga are. It can be games, movies, even some of the new shows. Let's just all nerd out together and talk about Star Wars for a while. Now, after that, I'm going to show you our latest tour video of Walkabout Minigolf that just premiered last week. This is with Mighty Coconut's art director Don Carson giving Ian Hamilton an exclusive pre-release tour of their new course, Forgotten Fairyland. Now, after the video, I'll shift gears and we'll talk about the Brookhaven Experiment for a bit. This is a classic VR zombie shooter that's back from the dead on Quest 2 and 3 headsets just in time for Halloween. And again, just like Star Wars, I would love to hear from any of the other OG VR players out there who might remember this one from back in the day down in the comments because, well, a whole new generation is about to get to experience it for the first time this Halloween. And I think it'd be great for you guys to give your insights on how this game influenced your VR journey into slaying zombies. So lastly, on the back half of the show today, we're going to have Chris Stockman back from BitPlanet Games again, and we're going to be jumping into Super RC to check out some of the multiplayer features in the game together, as well as discussing how the early access launch went for them and just having some fun playing the game. So, as you see, there's a lot to sideload today. Let's start the transfer. Okay, so Star Wars. First up, let's talk about Beyond Victory, okay? So this is the game from Industrial Light and Magic, which just released last week on Quest 3 and 3S, and I reviewed it over on UploadVR.com, and you can find that linked in the description, and I do encourage you to go over to the site and give it a read after the show today. Now, I did have a lot of fun with the playset and the story modes, and it definitely gave me a deep nostalgia trip, but let's face it, this is absolutely not the pod racing experience you would expect in VR. That's because aside from an old tech demo and a VR chat world that I found at one point when I was going through them for a World Series that we ran last year, there's no other pod racing experiences out there for VR. And instead, well, we got this game that presents hollow table pod racing at a miniature scale. And I mean, it's a mixed reality tabletop mode that has harsh edges, and it forces you to make quick decisions rather than the full immersion of cockpit-based virtual reality that we all wanted here. And that's why, obviously, most of us, well, we kind of were disappointed when we got third-person pod racing. So let's take a look at this third-person hollow-style pod racing in action, just in case you haven't seen it yet.
Here we go!
Nice. Okay, nice.
Knock in by me. now?
Finish line, here I come.
There's no boost left, just wait.
Make way.
Okay, now people over in the comments of our reviews on UploadVR.com are always trying to weigh in on whether we're being too kind or harsh to a particular game, and that's why it's really critical that you read the entire written review for all the context we give, and then be sure to look at those video clips that we drop in, and then because that's where we try to help people decide if an experience in VR is worth their time. And one of the comments I got on this one suggested I was being a little too generous giving the game a 3 out of 5 because, well, the mixed reality pod racing experience, but I want to respond to that right here on the show today by showing off a cool cutscene from later in the game. Now, in this scene, you're going to see that it's not just all about the pod racing, and I think some people forget that with this game. And there is a story mode too. It's short, but it's there, and it does have some amazing performances as well as graphics in the first-person VR sequences that are just stellar. So I didn't just score this game based on the pod racing. You know, you got to look at the whole picture when you're reviewing a game. Now, this is going to be a big spoiler for those who do want to experience this game for yourself. So I'm going to warn you right here, right now, close those eyes, leave the room, go get a snack or a drink, take a bathroom break, whatever you need to do for a minute while I show the reveal of a character that we get to see close to the end of the game. Now, you're gonna hear and see some spoilers here. And honestly, though, the real treat that you're gonna see is the visuals. And now, I have to stress, again, this is a spoiler. So if you do not want to see this, now is the time. Close those eyes for a moment and let's roll this footage.
Hell yeah, kid. Nobody saw a thing. We're clean.
Roger that, Control. He was a runner. We got him. Bringing the prisoner to the holding facility now.
Oh, hey, Polo! Looks like my protest sure caught their attention.
Are you authorized to be here?
Yeah, pit crew. We got our badges around here somewhere.
Hey, aren't you Sepulva?
What are you doing?
He's right, they'd remember. Price of fame, I guess. Okay, credits are secured. We gotta roll. What? Who else?
No, wait, this has gone too far.
You know what you're saying, kid. He means it when he says no witnesses.
Well, now there are 2 witnesses, so what are you gonna do? Shoot us both?
Oh, nice. Okay, now that is amazing.
You promised me a title.
Rackus, hey! We were just about to get old Volo back.
You shut your useless mouth. I don't know you. But I do know you. You Sepulva Garantia. Juba Choma Adima.
No.
You stole from me at Sorby Manufacturing. Who's to say you're not stealing from me now?
Hide!
With pleasure.
No! I've been looking for that. I need it for a drink later. Buy you one?
You stink.
Well, I ain't arguing with you there.
Your story stinks. Why are the pit cams down? Why is everything taking so long? The credits!
Okay, so this is absolutely incredible. I am so digging the mecha hut here with the like spider leg, mechanical spider legs. This is so cool.
Piloting a time pod racer.
So that was amazing, and that was actually from my very first playthrough of the game. So that's my genuine reaction you guys just heard in that reveal. I do actually like record my voice notes when I'm doing a full review. So as you can see, there were some amazing parts of this game, and you know, from posing the characters in mixed reality that had lighting so nice that it even fooled some people on my team to think that it was dynamic at first. We actually did some testing to make sure it wasn't, and it's not, but it was really interesting to see that lighting being just so high quality that for a minute I really thought it was coming from the ceiling light in my studio. And, you know, it's just amazing that we get moments like this. And, you know, it was just, I don't know, I can't stress enough how giddy it made me to just sit on the floor and play with these little models and these almost like action figures again in the Star Wars universe. I mean, it's just amazing, and it made me smile ear to ear. Now, you might think that my enthusiasm here says that I should have scored this higher, right? Well, unfortunately, there was just too much uneven use of the mixed reality, and quite frankly, it felt like it was tacked on and at times just forced. And the game wasn't terrible, but it just missed on a few key points. So in a nutshell, that's how we arrived at the 3 of 5 rating. Okay, so now with all that said, it's obvious now that we're not going to get a first person in the cockpit pod racer anytime soon. But if you still want a Star Wars experience that puts you back in the cockpit of some of those iconic starships, and not a pod racer that has no depth and makes you play it from a third person tabletop down view, well, last week I found a true gem. So did you know that you can actually play X-Wing Alliance again, but in full virtual reality using a mod that was created by the efforts of fans? Well, the incredible work of the X-Wing Alliance upgrade project takes that copy of the original game from 26 years ago, if you still have it on a disc laying around in a box like I do, or a digital version from Steam or Good Old Games, and it modifies it into a fully immersive virtual reality experience, recreating those incredible large-scale battles that were made by the awesome game designers over at LucasArts all those years ago. Now, this game has Star Destroyers and X-Wings and TIE Fighter and story and John Williams music, and I mean, it's got updated visuals and higher resolution models and effects. And for me, the cherry on top was that I even got the game working with my motion simulator. Now, the thing about my motion simulator is that, yes, as Ian describes it, it's my Wall-E chair. But, you know, when you hook that Wall-E chair up to playing a game that was originally designed back when The Matrix was still a brand new movie, and then you install some software that was made by adoring fans a quarter of a century later, well, when you think about it, you start to realize that's exactly why we do what we do here at UploadVR. I mean, come on. Star Wars fans just turned X-Wing Alliance into a virtual reality game that, quite frankly, no one can stop you from playing. It originally came in a box, so no worries about forced obsolescence that we see sometimes now with digital versions of games. That is provided, of course, that you own a copy or can find one secondhand. Now, if you can't, you can still get a digital version of X-Wing Alliance for only $10 right now on Steam. And for that $10, you're now going to get a full game that's been modded by fans to bring in 100% VR support. We got hands, you can touch the cockpit buttons. It's nuts. So before we move on, let's check out real quick what it's like to dogfight flying in a YT-1300. Yes, this is the same cockpit that we see in the Millennium Falcon. And we're going to do it in a 26-year-old masterpiece that's fully playable in VR. Let's roll the footage.
Your timing is critical. Don't mess this up.
You can count on us, sir.
Hurry up. Erin is already on her way.
There's the cargo facility. Dead ahead.
First things first. Let's take out those fighters.
Engaging Baracto fighters.
what do we have here? A couple of Azamine punks. It's time we settle some hash. I'm under attack! Check it out, little brother. Aaron hasn't delivered yet.
There must be a ship ahead of her still unloading.
Oh, well, you're not gonna believe this. There's that ship, the Enkidu.
I am developing an intense dislike for that ship.
What do you say we remove the irritation?
At least the ID tags Aaron faked are holding up.
I don't think for much longer. I'm about to dump this load.
It's gonna look pretty suspicious. Don't blow this.
You already blew it by getting here early, Eamon.
Really? I hardly think this is the time for an argument.
Shut up,
okay? It isn't strange to dump and run under the circumstances. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Hey! Watch out for those turbo lasers!
Raxo 54, it's getting too hot around here.
Negative Corellian transport Phoenix. Hold your position.
Are you going to run away again, Canoe?
We have everything under control.
Mission critical craft update. They have completed their docking operation.
With all due respect, it doesn't look that way to me. Bye.
You talking cute with me, sister? I'll seize your ship right now.
Good called it. I guess we're gonna have to cover your rear now.
Mission critical craft update. Their shields are up. They have been disabled.
I hate it when you're right, Eamon. I'm stuck here. I'm gonna have to abandon ship.
What about your ship? We cannot leave it behind for the Viraxo. Primary target update. They are aborting their mission.
Doesn't hurt yet, Enkidu?
I guess that means you'll have to destroy it.
Primary target update. They have been destroyed.
Hey! There's a bandit on your tail! One of them escaped. Enemy in range!
have to go now. Target the hyperbuoy, and let's get moving.
Okay, so that was incredible, right? See, to me, that's a 5 out of 5 experience right there, if there ever was one in virtual reality. For some fans out there, it could be priceless, but again, you can have it right now by just spending $10 over on Steam or Good Old Games to purchase the work of artists who made your childhood special. And then you'll get to fly in VR because of the work of talented modders that decided to make those childhood dreams many of us had a reality. So, all right. Time for a quick full-length video break here while we show you a tour of the newest course in Walkabout Minigolf. This is their latest course, Forgotten Fairyland, and it's out now and costs $4 on the platform of your choice. This time the course is an abandoned amusement park from the inspired Mother Goose fairy tales, and there's even a fun house and, well, a dark ride in there as well with some incredibly cool effects. So if you missed it, Ian Hamilton took a tour with Mighty Coconut's art director Don Carson, and they walked all 18 holes. So let's check that out now, and then when we get back, we'll talk a bit about the Brookhaven Experiment. I really want to get into this one for a minute. I loved that game, and it's now on Quest headsets, and, you know, followed by the main event after all that, where we bring in Chris Stockman from BitPlanet Games, and he joins me for some multiplayer gaming in Super RC. So stay tuned for all of that after the video, but now, let's roll it.
Hi, I'm Don Carson. I'm a senior art director here at Mighty Coconut, working on Walkabout Minigolf, and I want to introduce you to our newest course, which is Forgotten Fairyland, which is our homage to the abandoned amusement park genre. It has been high on our to-do list for a very long time. We were just looking for the right place for it. And each of our courses have a sort of champion or advocate for it. And both Henning and I were real fans of the idea of doing an abandoned amusement park that was spooky and appropriate for the Halloween season, but also had a sort of a walkabout twist about it. So we're going to enter into the midway. We go underneath Mother Goose's goose. One of the design ideas that we had while we were working on it was we wanted something spooky, but we also wanted something that had kind of a complementary edge to it, which was that originally this park, Fairyland, was sort of a favorite family park that you'd bring your kids to that was all themed on Mother Goose and nursery rhymes. So everything you see in the park is going to be Mother Goose themed, but with a patina of rust and probably a need for you to have had a tetanus shot before you enter the park. Yeah, well, Henning really wanted to see whether or not he could be inspired by Midway pitch-a-penny games, the kind of things you would find at a carnival or an amusement park. So a lot of these are that kind of like a skee ball inspired or knock over the milk carton inspired. But we also wanted to just completely smash things into it. The other idea that we had was that perhaps this abandoned amusement park was taken over by maybe Gen Z kids who decided to make a mini golf park out of it. And the materials they used, they ripped off of the decor and the attraction signage to make their the mini golf holes. So you'll find lots of sort of hints at inside jokes for Walkabout. Another thing that you'll see when you get into God mode later is that we needed to somehow answer the question, why is this abandoned? You know, why isn't it going strong? And Lucas had this wonderful idea during the design phase that half the park has fallen into a sinkhole. So if you go over to this area, you can see that Futureland and the other attractions are now at the bottom of a very deep hole. So the story answering itself. The roundabout ride down there in the pit is actually the ice ray from the ice layer. Mm-hmm. Well, we knew that we wanted some of the things to be rideable, because that would be an expectation people would have. And we also wanted, when it's lit up, which it is right now in easy mode, we wanted things to feel alive. So a lot of the attractions are moving, and there are some of the obstacles that are animated as well. Mm-hmm. They recognize the sheep from some of our other courses. And we tried to be playful with suggesting what these various attractions might have looked like in their heyday. In this case, we've got Jack and the Beanstalk, and the giant has fallen off the beanstalk and lost his head, and his teeth have become the obstacle for that hole. My background comes in theme park design, so this was an especially fun thing to work on, not only because we wanted to create something that evoked all the things you would expect from an amusement park, but we wanted a lot of inside jokes about things like queuing and the various ways that attractions are laid out. Of course, we needed to do a dark ride, and these early sort of carnival dark rides were sort of inspired by Tunnel of Love dark rides, which were often dark and scary. And so we picked as our fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. Everything's falling apart. And so you play in the empty flume of the Hansel and Gretel dark ride. We're always trying to meet expectations of the players. You know, if you had an opportunity to go visit an abandoned amusement park, what would you expect to see? And so we felt that having at least one ride that you could work your way through was a must. So we've got the witch in her kitchen greeting us. The marvelous soundtrack by Chris Raymond is spectacular, and it has its own, even more sinister version of it. We've got the mouth of the oven that you go into with the janky flame effect and the demonic cakes. So this was particularly fun. Having worked on actual dark rides before, it takes me back to some of the old classics, like the dark rides of Fantasyland. So then up we go. We've got our swan boats that are all crammed at the load-unload area. We've got these wonderful Zach Alexander graphics. These are stylized to look like the old sort of carnival sideshow advertisements. Traditionally, you'd see the Snake Lady or the Spider-Man or the weightlifter. In our case, all of our attractions are nursery rhyme themed. Here's another example of a hole that was inspired. This is based on a bowling ball midway game, where you would roll the bowling ball along the rails. And we work our way. This circus tent has a performance of the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but over here in the corner we have where the Three Bears were living in this caravan cage, but they've obviously broken out, and their three porridge dishes are laying in the dirt. There's lots of little corner areas too with gypsy wagons and other details. So here's the big top. You can putt into the cannon, which fires to hit the target. And work our way back out again. Over here on the left is a little detail. It's actually a puppet stage that you can use your grip to puppet in if you so desire. And overhead we've got the roller coaster, broken roller coaster that wraps around the course. We've got sky buckets, but the cables have broken, so they are laying about smashed on the ground. Yes, we've got a coconut chai game tent. Yeah, we've got the Ferris wheel, which is rideable. We try to put elements in there for people if they want to, just after a game of golf, to just sit and visit and chat with a friend. You can actually sit in the Ferris wheel and go around while you're visiting. Our coaster is themed loosely on the Three Blind Mice. And we've got those characters here. And we can work our way around the queue, which is also part of the playing surface. And this is another part that sort of harkens back to my years doing theme park design, as you inevitably spend a lot of time designing where you stand in line. I don't have to worry about ADA requirements or safety railing. Everything can be perilous. So we do get away with a lot. Here's the load and unload area for the coaster, and then we're going to just travel up the track a little bit. Over here on the right, you'll see the fun house, and this tall tower is called a Helter Skelter, which is something that is more typical in the UK. It's a conical building with a slide that wraps around it, and we've themed it after Rapunzel. So that's her hair wrapped around the slide that wraps around the building. And we're going to play up here onto the roof of the fun house. And we've peppered the park with garbage cans with clown heads on them, and because it seemed right, you know. And so we had some extras, so we just pile them over here. Just easier to store them on the roof of the funhouse. Mm-hmm. And we're going to work our way down into the funhouse through these back stairs. Gosh, I think we're around 14, 15. Yep. This is a circuitous layout, especially in the funhouse. So these funhouse rooms are a collaboration between Zach Alexander and Shane Rhodes. And like a funhouse, they just get weirder as you move from room to room. Yeah, this is great. This is my favorite room. I've got a big sort of 1930s devil on the ceiling. Yeah. When you give yourself permission to take on a theme like an amusement park, you want to just cram it full of everything you can think of that you'd want to see in an amusement park. One of our challenges is that our courses tend to have a small footprint, so it's trying to cram all of that into a small space and then meander around tight enough so it feels like every time you turn a corner you're seeing something new. And they've got the funhouse facade. A lot of early funhouses have that sort of wacky architecture. Old King Cole's pie full of blackbirds. That's hole 17, I believe. And then we finish off inside of the castle, which is based on King Midas and his golden touch. So everything in here has been turned to gold. Yeah, you gotta be careful. You don't want to end up with a gold ball. They're much harder to putt. And that's it. That is our latest course. Forgotten Fairyland. Night mode is very, very different. In fact, it has its own soundtrack. It is the other version of what you would imagine when you break into an abandoned amusement park. It's much more spooky, gray, fog-choked, somewhere near a condemned nuclear plant appearance. So it's an entirely different feel for the same place, and it has a wonderful adventure fox hunt that I highly recommend you go on.
All right, so we're back, and we've got a playlist here on the channel, so if you want to follow Mighty Coconut's full design journey, and I highly recommend that you do, these videos are amazing, and they're going to give you a behind the scenes into the creation of these beautiful works of art and Walkabout Minigolf. So go and check out that playlist after the show. Okay, so now let's get serious, because I think I hear some zombies scratching at the door over there. That's right, the Brookhaven Experiment is back, and the zombie wave shooter that originally released back in 2016 for the HTC Vive and basically helped to spawn an entire generation of zombie wave shooters after it is now playable in standalone. And, I know a lot of us basically roll our eyes now at the idea of a zombie wave shooter in VR because, well, let's face it, just like Gorilla Tags, a lot of developers saw that, there were viral videos rolling out from people playing this game back in 2016 and 17, and, well, they followed suit, congesting stores with clones. And I have to say, this is a really, really cool release in standalone VR. So, you definitely should, even if it's a wave shooter, you should give it a look. And you got upgradable gun in one hand, you got a flashlight in the other, and, well, thankfully some slower Walking Dead style zombies at first that do get harder and harder to overcome with each passing wave. Now, the fact that Quest 1 back in 2019 was such a pared down system, it basically made it impossible to even get the basic functionality of this working for a standalone form factor. But now that most devs are building for the, increased power of Quest 3, well, those systems are way more powerful, and developers at Phosphor Studios have now ported the full game to standalone. So there is a campaign here, but most people are going to be familiar with the punishing survival mode that sees you try to outlast wave after wave of zombies as they come at you from all different directions. And, we may actually have some devs from Phosphor Studios watching today. So if you are, I want to say thank you so much for bringing this back from the dead and bringing it to us on Quest. Now, for me, the Brookhaven Experiment did something right back in 2016 that we saw mimicked by other games just a few years later. And that was that it got you into playing the game really quick. So if you want to show off VR for the first time to someone, and, they do say they like horror movies and horror games. I mean, don't throw people into a horror game, right off the bat if that's not their bag. The Brookhaven Experiment is a great choice because it's got that low friction of entry, and, well, it's still very much what it was back in 2016 for that kind of first timer experience. I mean, a lot of people are going to have that oh wow moment for the very first time shooting those zombies. So again, many, many, many thanks to Justin Corcoran for his support of us as a patron, and good luck to Phosphor Studios with their release this Halloween season. You can learn more about all the topics that I'm covering and Brookhaven Experiment today by reading the stories we have linked in the description of the video. Okay, so before we transition to the last segment of today's show, I do want to take just a moment to thank each and every one of you out there who shows up each week to support us on these shows, and also the people who go to UploadVR.com and read our work. It truly means the world to us, and we appreciate you and couldn't do this without your support. So if this is your first time checking us out today, please consider heading over to UploadVR.com after the show and becoming a member. So now it's time to have some fun, and I'm going to go ahead and throw up a quick transition, and then I'm going to be back with Chris Stockman from BitPlanet Games in Super RC, where we're going to talk a little bit about the launch and have some fun playing the game. I'll see you in VR. Okay, guys, so here we are. We are in Super RC, and I'm here with Chris Stockman, game designer here at BitPlanet Games, a guy who has brought us Ultra Wings. He's brought us now Super RC. So, Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm freaking fantastic. I'm sitting here with you playing with RC cars today. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and BitPlanet.
Yeah, we're a small developer that been making VR games now for 10 years. We're most famous for the Ultra Wing series, and we're bringing you a RC car game, platform/game, where it features a variety of different cars, racing, sandbox, and lots more to come. We launched an early access earlier in the middle of last week, and we're just heads down, bringing everyone updates and new content.
Fantastic. How did the launch go?
what's the diplomatic way of saying this? I think it was a little rough around the edges, but we quickly diagnosed and fixed several issues, and within days, patches were released, and it's pretty smooth sailing now.
Okay. So, if you don't mind me asking, what, I know you guys, Ultra Wings at first was aircraft, and now we're doing RC cars. So what kind of was the shift there? What was the kind of motivation to bring RC car racing into virtual reality?
So the short end of it is that we launched Ultra Wings 2 and considered it to be, we kind of blew it out the box in terms of feature set, length, gameplay variety, just a big giant aircraft game. And it did pretty good, but a competitor outsold us probably 10-1. And that competitor, the only thing they had advantage over us was visual quality, because they focused on sort of realism. And that's it. That's the only thing they had us against, like they beat us on. We were a stylized game. They were focused more on realistic, as I guess they weren't even a flight sim. I couldn't even call it a flight sim. There was no simulator aspects to it at all. But it looked like what a normal flight sim would look like. We chose gameplay, and variety of gameplay, and they outsold us, and it kind of demoralized us, to be honest with you. And so when we were looking for our next project, we were looking at the store, and we're like, well, there's nothing, like, RC cars are very recognizable. We can make environments that look more realistic and less stylized than Ultra Wings. And we can have just as much variety of cars and the things that you do with them. So let's try to recreate that. And let's see what we come up with. That's it. I guess that's really the long answer of it, not really the short answer.
Yeah, well, we know, we like the long answer here at Upload. So, now one thing I noticed when I was doing my playthrough, doing the write-up during the early access period, I found the store, and I noticed that some of the Ultra Wings aircraft were hanging in the ceiling. And that kind of got me thinking, is there any plans to maybe bring other RC vehicles into the game in the future?
In terms of aircraft, not imminently. We need to release all of the existing ones that we have done, and just need to sort of implement the gameplay around them. So that comes first, and then after that, we'll see where we go next. Part of me wants to go car combat, and part of me wants to actually make that a priority versus even some of the other cars. I think it would be interesting to take a Twisted Metal type approach with in an environment like this, right? Wide open kind of space. You can put a variety of things in, props, ramps, all these different things you can do, and have power-ups that you collect and just blow each other their smithereens. And with our first-person view, it makes it doable, and I think it'd be really fun. So I think there's some things that we want to put in first before we start diving into a whole new physics scheme.
So, you mentioned the first-person view, and that's something that I found. I wasn't expecting that during the playthrough. Really fun to be on the roof and the hood of the car. Any plans to bring the player inside the car?
No. It's really designed for one, the interiors are not even modeled on the cars to save on performance. So there's nothing in there to use. And what we decided is to focus more on what it would be in real life. So if you attach, people attach GoPros to their cars all the time. And the idea is to mimic that, to sort of simulate that, rather than trying to do something where, we model the interior and suddenly, what are the expectations for that? Do you need steering wheel support? I've never seen a good game. I've never seen a VR game do proper steering wheels, and I'm not sure they can be done. I played some games that have done steering wheels, and the best one, I can think of one that's the best one out of the bunch, but it's still you're still struggling with precision with it. And so I'm not convinced the steering wheels are the thing. I actually think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you played it. I actually think we solved the precision issue with this and in first-person view. You really do feel like you have control of the car. And I almost think that if we did even if we did like a realistic driving game, I would probably use this.
Okay.
For the control, like this type of control. I feel like you have more control over the car in first-person view with this sort of control mechanism versus like a virtual steering wheel.
Yeah. Now, bringing in a traditional RC controller, and you guys have modeled it very well into the game, is interesting. Like you say, the control scheme there. So, what kind of challenges did you guys have getting the physics of the car right? Because I noticed that it's really close to what I would experience if I am driving a real RC car.
So, the first thing we had to nail down was the scale of the car, and this is something we spent a fair bit of time with. The smaller the car, the faster it goes, generally speaking. The larger cars tend to not go as fast. And so we chose the 1/5 scaled primarily because we wanted players to be able to see it from a distance. We knew that we were going to do racing. We knew that we were going to be on a balcony, and you need to be able to see your car from a distance while it's in the very back row. The next thing we had to do was find the scale of the environments, the size of the environments, so that and we missed the mark the first time. You could get too deep, and the car was just too tiny, so we had to decrease that depth. And so it was a lot of trial and error. And then next, when it comes to physics, so we opted for something that to get kind of behind the weeds, we actually render the world twice. So below us is like the other part of the world, and these cars are almost 1-to-1 scale. Underneath, like it simulates it. That's what. Yeah, that's and so we do that because we just prefer this way. In real life, RC cars really are fast, and they're hard to control. They're really hard to control, and especially in racing. Like, watch any RC car racing video, and you'll see that all the cars look like little ants. They're following a line, and they're following each other in a line, and the only time they ever outmaneuver each other is if one wrecks, which does happen. We wanted there to be a racing element where you're actually battling for position side by side at times. And the only way we could do that is if you kind of slowed them down a bit, and you had more sort of control and less, and because of virtual controls, right? There's some slop involved with virtual controls. You don't have the tension of the wheel, right? So you really have to kind of have this element of don't have to be so precise. So that's kind of some of the reasons for why we chose kind of the physics and the scale that we did.
So I got to tell you, man, this is like a slice of my Texas childhood right here. I mean, just hanging out on a suburban street with a friend, driving RC cars. It doesn't get much better than this, Chris.
Grab onto this car.
Okay, with the manipulator, or just grab onto it?
Just grab.
Okay.
Grab onto like.
All right, I'm on. Or is there a specific spot?
You could just. Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I got a grip.
Okay, let's see.
Whoa! So what are you trying to do? Roll me?
Here we go.
Oh, whoa! Okay. Oh, I love that. Oh, that gave me that pit of my stomach feeling. I love that when I can do that, when I can jump in VR and still get that little butterflies in your stomach feeling.
Let's do it again.
Okay, let's do it again. All right, grab on the back of the rest.
It's so crazy.
All right, flip me. Whoa! Oh my God, that is so cool. Oh, now I'm on the roof.
Oh, you got on the roof?
The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the.
I swear, it's more fun messing around with physics than actually driving the car around.
No, and that's what people are gonna do. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree.
the Kyrie, they're gonna just nerd out. They're gonna have fun. You know, it's interesting how many people probably, unless they watch our video this week, they probably won't even know they could do that though. So
Correct.
that's cool that we're putting this in here. I gotta say, I love the Honey I Shrunk the Kids perspective here.
Well, yeah, you would have made that, I think.
I was in front person too. I should have made that. I needed to switch gear. I keep forgetting to shift gears.
Dude, we put so much stuff in this game. We have probably 100 props that are not in the list.
Really?
Yeah. There's so much in there.
So are those just going to come in over time through updates? Or?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, we got all of these construction related props.
Oh, I had my angle off.
We built a scissors. You know what a scissor lift is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we built one of those, like an interactive scissor lift.
Nice. Okay.
You can gain some elevation to overlook, like if you made a track in the construction site, you could spawn that so that you can actually overlook.
Oh, okay. Good idea. Okay, yeah, because you really do need to be elevated to see those tracks, as I noticed in the racing mode yesterday.
Dude, I'm gonna go into first person.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the jumping in first person. So you may remember this one because you're OG. Oculus Share DK1.
Yeah.
There was this weird little game where all you did was jumped a motorcycle over a bunch of buses.
Huh. I don't remember that.
I wish I could remember the name of that because I got to tell you, that was the first game when I got my DK1 that I would just sit there for hours just doing that because it was the first time I actually got physical sensations in VR. Because I would get that going over the hill, the roller coaster, butterflies in my stomach feeling. And this is kind of reminding me of that, the whole...
You were on it in second gear, but I think you're still in first gear. Or like...
Now I'm just doing donuts.
Get my speed up.
I also need to get some distance here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just good, clean fun.
It is. It's good, clean fun, Chris. I am loving this. So close.
But you see, do you think as much as I've been stewing on this for the last couple days, and you kind of sparked. Well, I had this idea a couple months ago, about doing a car combat thing.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
And I don't. There you go. It would not work without FPV mode, right? There's no way.
No, you have to have that for car combat.
Yeah. And so at the time, we didn't have the FPV mode, so we shot it down. But I just think it would be a blast.
Oh God, dude, I could totally see just hours of carnage and mayhem happening up in here.
Right, you see it too, right? Machine guns and rockets.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, Twisted Metal. I could totally see a Twisted Metal style game set in here, FPV.
Yeah.
Different power-ups, different, yeah.
I mean, that would be almost a whole game in and of itself.
I mean, you could even do something similar in the race modes and make it Mario Kart style.
Yeah, we thought about
that. Where you got that power-ups in the race modes and things like that, and weapons, and
Well, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch if we put it in an arena combat mode, having the same sort of weapons in race mode.
Yeah, because you'd already have the assets in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna do it as the next thing we do. To be quite honest with you, I think that I think it's. I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but I think it's important. I think it'll. Let me just put it this way. I think we'll get a younger audience. Probably are not going to come out of early access until we launch all the cars and all the gameplay associated with cars. So who knows when that'll be? But
and you have the first 3 cars. Are you guys planning on adding any other cars? Past the initial 3 DLC cars?
Well, there's actually 4.
4. I'm sorry, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a 2-wheel drive variant of the short course truck.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So we got the drift car coming. We got the crawler, and we got the stock car. And with the stock car and the drift car, we actually built dioramas of drift tracks and NASCAR style oval tracks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That you basically race on. And I can't wait to do those in first person view.
Oh,
I can't wait. I think it's going to be bonkers. Especially the NASCAR track. I think it's going to be special. I think it's going to be fun. And I think the drift track is interesting. I think it's drifting around. We'll see. I think it's going to be Bomba Fest. We'll see. But you can definitely do it in third person, no problem. The drift cars is insanely fun because drifting is just fun, and it's a hard thing to do, but once you're master it becomes almost second nature. But it's crazy. And then the crawler, dude. I mean, the crawler is a whole game in and of itself because we build a crawler creator, track editor, and the multiplayer on the crawler is vastly different from everything else. It's much slower paced, and it's about trying to get from one end to the other, and you kind of start in sequential order, and it's staggered start times, so it's like every 5 seconds a new person starts.
Oh, interesting.
And if the person that starts behind you, like you go first and I go second, and if I hit your car, it resets you back to the beginning.
Okay.
So there's this, you need to go fast, but not too fast because it's off-road.
Right.
Right. So it's this like kind of
tag aspect there.
Yeah. And it's, whoever gets it to the end wins, and it's very elaborate course. Jump in there.
Okay. Oh, are you gonna pick me up?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna pick each other up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, I got it wrong. Here, let me get in this box. Okay.
Okay. Hold on. Break out your. Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna do later.
Move this. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Ready? Let's go. Let's go.
Whoa. They're flying. Oh, that's so cool. That was fun. Oh, that was. Yeah, let's see. Jump in the box. Okay, jump in the box. You can't just walk through it.
Okay.
I guess slower this time.
Yeah, it did.
So how high can we get?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see.
I don't know.
And then keep moving around so that you're in.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I see. So I don't fall out of the box.
Yeah.
Okay, so as me and Chris here fly away across the top of Super RC, I want to thank everyone for watching today. This has been an awesome, fun time hanging out with you, Chris. So is there anything else that you want our audience to know about Super RC, BitPlanet, or just anything in general?
Yeah, this game is still in early access. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. Looks like we've reached the max of the world. Lots of cars and
as I dropped you.
Oh my God!
I dropped you. Oh, sorry. So you were saying lots of cars.
Join our Discord. It's real easy to remember. Discord.gg/BPG. That cost a pretty penny to get, but join our Discord and hop in and help us fine tune this crazy RC car game platform. Everything you want in RC cars, we're going to have.
All right, man. Well, this has been fantastic, and we can't thank you enough for joining us today, Chris. So if you guys want to grab a copy of Super RC, we will have a link for that in the description. And thank you so much for joining us on today's VR Sideload. Please come back next Friday, where we will bring you more interesting stuff that people are doing in VR headsets. For Don and Chris, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for giving us your time today, and please consider becoming a member at UploadVR.com to support our work directly.